Okay, hello. So today we have Hans come in, and we are talking about travel. Travel, mainly in the context of seduction, but advice on how to travel, where to travel, um, familiarizing yourself with the local scene, these kinds of things. So, hello, Hans.
Hello. Well, to start it off, I think it's a very good issue. That's why I wanted to like have a interview around it. And even I say this to men, even if you're not a traveler like me, and I'll tell you my story first a little bit. I didn't travel until I was like 33, and I didn't see it for me. I didn't imagine it. I didn't see the possibility. I didn't think it was for me. I was just doing my thing in Belgium at the university, becoming a professor, and also playing football. And so I was always in Belgium, and then I took vacations once in a while. But I wasn't a traveler; I was a tourist, and it was only when, like, I felt I had my whole career planned out for me, and I was going to become a professor, and I was great working at in the academic world, but I missed the sense of adventure, and I feel like an unease, and I couldn't put my finger on it what it was, and then I met Zan, and we had a very similar uh, visions, and I saw the opportunity, and I abandoned everything and I started traveling. And I still remember the first times, we were talking about the Arja Marata making the program, and Zan was the face of it because he was well known, and I was writing the program with and for him, and then I was just imagining he would go, and then he said, "Fuck, maybe you should come along, to do these live events," and I'm like, "Of course." And I started there traveling. I'll never forget November 2008, and we went to Montreal. And all of a sudden, just the fact to see something different, to be on the road, to have a different perspective, it just completely put my life into perspective. And I was like, what the fuck have I been doing? I didn't see that opportunity. Like the whole world just opened up. Like, fuck, there's such a wide world out there. And it wasn't until I started traveling that I saw the value of traveling. And so I started traveling, and then I just never stopped. And that's why I say to the guys, don't think of like become a traveler like me for the next 15 years. Think of getting away from where you're at and not on a vacation. Go on a journey, go on a trip, go to a place for at least a month, 6 weeks at least, or take a month to see the minimum, or take 3 weeks to say the minimum. I don't want the time to be, but take time to go and live in a different place, to become part of the fabric there, to meet locals there, to make friends for the rest of your life, to speak the language, to do your laundry there, to find the Wi-Fi, to find the parties to go to local dancing, to understand the Morris, understand the local dating scene. And just that experience of like 1 month in a different place, it will completely shift you. You will go, what the fuck have I been doing in my place? And you could go back, even if you just go back, you'll go back with new eyes. You go back with new experiences. You'll be a different guy also to the people around you. Now you're that traveler who went to Colombia or Africa or whatever. And just that experience to see, and because I'm in seduction and dating, to see that there's completely different ways of dating, that when you go to Colombia, Medellin, that you're so welcomed there. When you go to Malaga, Spain, that the people are a lot more festive and going out and very social. When you go to Africa, where you're instantly the hot chick, except you, Sean. But if you're white, you go to Africa, it's ridiculous. Go to Asia, when people have a way more harmonious way of interacting with each other. And those experiences, it will change in you, and you will say, wow, there are different places in the world where I am welcome as I am, instead of like trying to fight where I am right now, and I have no value and I'm not so welcomed. you know, like I experienced in the West, in Belgium and America. The first time I experienced it was in Romania, where Bogdan is from. And I remember sitting down. I'm going off now, but I loved it. I go with Zan 1 month to Bucharest in 2011, and I will never forget it. Every night we were sitting outside this place, this chicken stuff. I was not a vegan then, and we had a chicken and a beer, and it was €2 for a big piece of chicken and a big beer, Heineken. And we just watched the women, and they were so gorgeous and so well dressed and so elegant and so feminine in the way they presented themselves. We were thinking, this is a joke, you know. Someone is filming us, and then we meet the women, and I felt so welcome by the women. And it's just, there are some good matches out there in the world, and I did not match very well with the Western women, like say Belgium or the States. And I have more seductive skills than most men I know, and I still felt a lot more welcome in Bucharest. And so these things will shape me. I was just in Africa last year, really the first time for a longer period, and it was insanity, you know. And I will have that experience with me for the rest of my life. I deal with women back in Belgium or the US different because of that experience. And so I recommend to every guy to make it happen this year. I challenged you, Sean, to make it happen this year. I challenge every guy to make it happen this year. Think of the place where you love the women, where you think you love the women. So, wow, imagine I could, or a place where you think maybe I'll be very welcome there, you know, and make it happen no matter what, you know. Give up your job if necessary, or whatever, or not. But take out a month and go and live there, you know, and it will shift you, you know, and you probably will want more of it afterwards, and you will make it work. It will change your life. It will change the way you relate to women. Here's my statement.
Okay, that's some intro. So, well, you've already kind of mentioned this, but I was going to ask how to choose where to go. So you go somewhere where you feel you would be welcome, where you feel that you are interested in the women there as well. Any other things that you want to?
Well, I think those are a great first two things. Like, go from your desire. That's one thing. But I didn't know, but I really relate to the women of Eastern Europe, because they have less of a sense of entitlement than the women in the West. They don't feel they're entitled to success in love, and that it's the man's job to give him that. And so they play along in the dance that is seduction a lot more. So I resonate with that. Africa was also incredible. Just the experience of being white. And you have, guys think male white privilege, you know, go to Africa, you'll have white privilege there. You'll see something completely different. And it's just a different way of relating. So that's one thing. Where are you welcomed? In Colombia, I feel very welcome. And did I say welcome first? Yes, I said no. Anyway, where you're welcome, or where you really love the women. Like, I love how women in Colombia, Medellin, look and how they present themselves. And so I go there, you know, and I try to make that work. So those are the two things. And I can, for any guy, depending on how his appearance and what his strengths and weaknesses are, I can tell where you should go, you know. And but if you don't know where you'll be welcomed, go where you really love the women. You see videos, or you hear of it, you just have a dream, you know. Oh, Brazilian women, go to Brazil, you know, that kind of thing. You'll do something in your life that you'll, fuck, I followed my desire, you know, and you'll find out if you really resonate with them, and it's totally worth to do it, you know. So those two things: where are the women that you really like? Where are the women that you think you're welcome by, you know, and go there.
Okay, good. And once you've decided that, how do you actually prepare? How do you find a place to stay, you know, that won't be too expensive? These kinds of things.
Right.
What do you need to take with you? These kinds of things.
Well, I have the liberty of not having a home. So, you know, that's something you have to deal with, in a sense of like you're renting or whatever. But if you don't, or even if you do, of these places that I just mentioned, rent is way cheaper than in most Western cities. You go to Bucharest, you go to Medellin, you go to Chiang Mai, wherever. It's way cheaper. I was in Chiang Mai for a month in a hotel, private room in a hotel. It was a cycling hotel, which I cycle also, and it was 300 euro in a hotel. You know, you're not going to find that kind of rent in London. It was a huge. In Bucharest, the same. You know, if it's for the first time, I recommend Airbnb. You know, because to me the privacy is quite important. You know, but if you're really on a tight budget, you go to hostels, or you know, you do couch surfing, which is free. So there's enough places now. I know a lot of people all over the world. So I paid over the years, and then I connected with people, and now it's cheaper for me. Or talk to me. You know, if you're really dedicated to these things, I know people in a lot of cities in the world. You know, and if you're committed to this, you know, I'll connect you with people. And it's that is to a lot of guys the hurdle. Like, who do I talk to? Who do I? And with our project that is called Secret Kingdom, we're mapping out the connectors in every city, the guys or the girls that you need to know, and that could help you find a place, that can put you in contact with other people, that will invite you to go out, and or will tell you where to learn the language or where to eat. You know, there's a lot of information out there, so that's not a problem. But what we're focusing on is really like connecting you with people on the ground. So when you arrive, that they take care of you, you know, that they will tell you how to get from the airport, they will tell you where it is best to go, that they'll introduce you to their girlfriend, you know, and that's a huge advantage to have that network, you know. But if you don't have that, yeah, the adventure in itself is to me is great, you know, to arrive and to try to understand who are the connectors in a city. Like, I always thought, for example, I had to be like the center of the party, and like I have to organize a party, invite people, and then I learned to find out who are the people who organize parties, you know, and connect with them, and so I don't have to do the work. But yes, there's so many ways to do it. Tinder, you know, you can have girls just showing you around. They love it. They, like Colombia had that experience, you know. You meet for coffee, they tell them about their city, they show you around, they are interested in you or not, love-wise. There's so many ways now. It's really is like to decide, I'm going, you know, and then it's easier than before. And if you need help, talk to me. If you want to go to Colombia, talk to me. You want to go to Bucharest, talk to me. Go to Chiang Mai, go to Nairobi, go to, you know, any city you can think of, talk to me.
Okay, and how important is language when you're going to these places? Do you need to know the language? Do you need to?
It depends where you go. My microphone had a problem here, I think. I hope you hear me. You hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. The sound changed a bit, but it was fine.
Okay. It depends on where you go. If you go to Colombia, you need to speak. It's better to learn Spanish. You know, if you go to Bucharest, English. They all speak English. All the young generation, they all speak English. So it depends a bit on where you go. You go to Nairobi, everyone speaks English in Africa. So if you go to Chiang Mai, it's a bit harder. They don't speak English so well. So it depends on where you go, you know. But it's always good to learn the language, even if it's just for a bit. I'm learning Spanish now. I'm living in Spain now for the moment, and I'm learning Spanish because it's just a great exercise for the brain, and you will look at your city differently. You will connect with people differently. You should always be learning a language. That's my advice, you know. Always be learning a language. I've learned in the past Portuguese, and I did some Italian and Spanish, and you know, I'm Belgian, so we get in school Dutch and French and English. So that adds up. It's great. With every new language, a whole new world opens up. So you should always be learning a language. School, to me, is that you don't learn much, but the languages are important. So I'm happy I got that.
Cool. And you mentioned Spain. And I know you travel a lot, but Spain, or specifically, I guess, Malaga, is a place that you really enjoy, you really love. How did you know that that's a place that you like to return to sometimes?
Well, after Bucharest, I lived there for 2.5, 3 years, and I felt like a chapter was, like it was time for a new chapter. And also the cycling is not so good there. Mountain bike is great, but cycling not. And I wanted to change, and I was just looking at, I traveled for a couple of years, looking at places. And Malaga for me is again, a city really depends on your own priorities. But to me, Malaga is now the best city in the world because I have the sea, which I love. I need to see. I need to know it's there. You have the beach. You have the city at the sea, which is so rare, And then you have the mountains, which is great for cycling. So you have beach, city, and mountains. I know of no other place who has that. Maybe Rio, but then Rio doesn't have uh, the safety that Malaga has. Prices are way lower here than, say, Barcelona or Madrid or any other capital in Europe. It's well connected with the rest of Europe, which is important to me because my family is in Belgium, my friends are in Bucharest, and it's a good connection with South America because it's Spanish. So you easily go to Colombia or Brazil or Cuba, whatever, And yeah, it's the third largest airport in Spain, so it's very well connected with the rest of the world. That's important. There's great history here. You see it in the buildings too. This combination of like European and African. The Moors came here and destroyed everything and fucked all the women. It's great, and it makes the people know how to party because of the weather. That's number one. Also, weather is the best it has the best climate in Europe. Most sun, not as hot as other cities like Sevilla or Granada in the summer because of the sea breeze, and not as cold as Granada or Sevilla in the winter. It's like a microclimate, which is very good weather. And so that's very important to me that I have a lot of sun. So that's my thing, I look at the weather, I look at the art, I look at the prices, I look at the cycling, I look at the connection. I look at the vegan options, it's great. The fruit and the vegetables are great. So all of that together makes for me that Malaga is a great city. But you got to find out for you what is great. The women are good. They're not as good as, for example, Bucharest, but it's a big city. So this is as good as it gets for a city in Western Europe in terms of women, because they're very social, and that's great. So yes, nothing is perfect, and this is the best city I know so far.
Okay, now, well, two questions in one, really, kind of quick ones. I think I already know the answer to this one. Place with the most beautiful women. And the second one is place with the most friendly women.
Good. Well, these are my most recent experiences. Bucharest is number one, just in volume. 1 and 2 is just gorgeous. And even the ugly ones are beautiful. It's insane. And for me, in terms of friendliness, it's Medellin. During the day, all the women, no women will not talk to you if you have the balls to go and talk to her. No woman will just, they're so gracious, even if they don't like you. They're very gracious and elegant. They have it in their nature to avoid conflict. And so they won't and you can use that to your advantage. It's beautiful. They will talk to you. And so if you just go up, they will say, "Oh, sí, señor, sí, señor." And you won't necessarily know what she really feels, but it's great. Plus they're gorgeous, and they have this, they're obsessed with the body. Is the capital in the world for ass and breast implants, which is not what I like, but it does say something about their focus. And just the way they present themselves, and the way they sport, and I love it. So yeah, most beautiful women, volume, Bucharest, although my preference in terms of like curves and body is more like Latin America, and friendliest women was here in Medellin. Yes.
Okay, interesting. And the I think this might be the last question. You've been to these different places. You've met these different women. They're all a bit different. what is constant?
Oh man, there's so many things that are constant. Like the real basic things about polarity between masculinity and femininity are everywhere. You know, there are cultural differences and I'm endlessly interested in them. But I'm way more amazed of how a woman is a woman in Tokyo or in Rio or in Nairobi, you know. And I'm very interested in discovering those laws as well, you know, of masculinity, femininity, seduction, as they pertain to like the the classic things that are similar all over the world, you know. And then you have, it all depends, you know. Every situation is different, every woman is different, every relationship is different. But I'm very keen on seeing that, like there's some things that are the same everywhere, you know, what makes up a woman, and but that's vasting, and that's what I describe in a lot of my work, is like, what is it that makes a woman a woman? What is the role of a man in the dance that is seduction, you know? And those are for every cultural situation, you know.
Okay, and where are you
But
going next?
that's too far, that's too much right now to go into. But there are
Yeah.
a lot of cultural differences, and there are a lot of things that are similar all over the world.
Okay, where are you going next?
Well, I'm here in Malaga for at least a month, and then we'll probably do we will do a big event in adventure in Africa. If you can make it, come there. It's not a small thing. It's a big journey. It's a big adventure. It's going to be transformative and life changing. So few men are ready for it. I know it, but I'm even scared of it. But yes, that's next, and then probably to Asia. I've never been to the Philippines and Vietnam, and I would like to see how the dating scene is there, and check all the other parameters that I look for when I visit a city.
Sorry, I was late joining the call. I just caught the end of that.
We're talking about travel.
Nice. Something I can relate to.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So, Hans, another thing. These things that you look for, do you can you list them for us? The specific things that you look for in order
Okay,
to.
but this is very personal. Okay, but
Yeah.
weather, cycling, women. It's not necessarily in this order. Women, price, vegan options, which is not, this is more like looking at fruit and vegetables, you know. And so that's what I look for. That's what and then depending on if I want to live, you know, my connectivity with my family to Belgium is important. But those are the parameters I look for when I go to a city. And then you have added bonuses like the art scene or the history, which makes you feel a certain way when you walk in a city. So, but those are the parameters I usually look for.
Okay. What's the first thing you do when you get there in order to learn about the?
I go nowadays. What I do is I go dancing, which is a great way to connect with people. Like I'm learning salsa and bachata is a great way. I just walk around the city during the day and I talk to people. I love doing it, and I talk to women. And then I usually look to make friends. You know, make friends so they connect you with other people. And what did I do here in Malaga? Yeah, that's how I did it.
Okay.
My two tips are: go dancing, even if you don't dance, and approach women during the day. Those are great ways to learn about a city. You know, I also cycle, and then I connect usually with local groups, and that's a great way of getting to know the city, getting to know places, getting to know other people. So, but yeah.
I could add to that, meetups pretty good as well, and in some cities, and also some Facebook groups as well can be useful.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Sean, I will have to go.
Okay. All right.
You will be able to chop this up, and
yeah, I will. Don't worry.
We'll evergreen it.
Yeah.
If possible.
Okay.
All right. I'll
Thanks
see you guys later.
All right. Thanks a lot.